agus fáilte hÉireann Community Focus or CavanTV.com. Hello and welcome to the Community Focus programme on CavanTV.com. This programme is live on the internet every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock and also on Smith's Cablevision in Cavan Town. The show is dedicated to all things community in County Cavan. If you would like to comment on the show or have your community initiative or issue featured, please email drumlinmedia@gmail.com or contact us via our Facebook pages, facebook.com/CavanTV, or on Twitter at @CavanTV, or include #CavanTV in any of your tweets. On this programme tonight, we will feature highlights from the launch of the 2012 Fleadh, which took place in the Imperial Bar in Cavan last Thursday.
That's a waste.
I'm now here with Des Cullen. Des is the new Mayor of Cavan Town, Minister Shane McAfee and Senator Lara Smurf. You're all welcome here to the launch of Cavan 2012 Fleadh. Des, maybe if I start with you, what does the Fleadh mean to Cavan Town to get it the third successive year?
Well, I think everyone will remember forever the last 2 years that we've had the Fleadh in Cavan Town. It was just one of those occasions where, you know, to see the streets full, to see people standing looking at musicians and dancers and young and old, it was just amazing. And I know the Senator was very generous in his praise for Cavan when he launched the Fleadh this evening, but I think Cavan people got so much out of it. There's such a pride in our town. You know, it was great to see people standing talking to complete strangers from across the country and maybe across the world as well. You know, Cavan looks really well. We gave so much to the Fleadh, but I think we got an awful lot back out of it as well, and that's something that, you know, we'll always remember. So we're really, really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. Minister, I suppose you can really feel the buzz about Cavan, and despite the recession and the doom and gloom that is in this country, you can see that there's so much positivity here.
Well, I think Lara's talked about positivity. Like, the minute you come in the door, you'll say, why didn't I book in for the weekend? You know, there is that atmosphere. But just from a neighbouring county, County Meath, we know how much it means, and it's great for the people in our area and all over the country to come down to Cavan, and the amount of work and the good name it has got for Cavan. You know, even though Cavan always had a good name, but the music I think is the winner at the end of the day. Like when I was growing up living in the village of Nabar, which is the home of Caslin the Bard, I always remember the people going on the motorbikes down to the Fleadh Cheoil in Clones, and there was a constant stream up and down. And you know, I think the Fleadh Cheoil here in Cavan, it's the work of all the people who, in winter nights, teach young people in particular, up and down the length and breadth of Ireland and every other country, to come here on the one day, and everyone put all their, you know, put their whole bit of music together. Like, no matter what instrument you play, there's nothing as nice. I remember probably the best weekend ever I had, and it was in a place called Ballysadare in Sligo. You might remember it. It was the best festival that weekend I ever had in my life, and I'd just like maybe tonight to pay tribute to a man by the name you know, of Tony Finnegan, who's from my own parish in Nabar, who was very much involved in Cultus, and his wife still carries on the tradition, and they are the people that has made tonight happen, and in particular too with the launching. I think the launching of something gets people's minds focused. Like, and Lara's opening, you know, about 1,000 something, 1,200 people make on the day come together, but it's the people tonight, people get focused, and I'd just like to wish the people of Cavan, and Jack Keys in particular. I won't be able to come here and for the Fleadh itself, but I am actually going to Kansas to open an Irish festival where you have 100,000 Irish people who have this Irish festival every year, and it's we're actually opening up links to bring them back to Ireland, so we'll all do our bit for next year.
Absolutely. And Senator, I'll leave the last word with you from a Cultus perspective. How do you view the Fleadh and Cavan and come here?
Well, I think we can say that the people of Cavan, they opened their hearts and they opened their homes to the world of Irish culture. People came here not just from every one of the 32 counties, but they really came from the four corners of the world. And when you think that you had 300,000 people here, and Cavan were able to look after them in such a hospitable hospitable way. They made them feel at home. One can only imagine the public reaction and the public relations reaction that goes with that. Those people, when they would go back to their own counties and indeed to their own countries as well, I think many of them will make a return visit here to Cavan because they will remember the very special occasion they had. It was an interesting thing that I'd say about 70% of those who were here were young people. Now, it's an interesting thing when you take an ancient culture and young people in a hyper-progressive world, they are the people who are enjoying it and bringing it forward. You had 12,000 performers here at the Fleadh Cheoil. It wasn't just a matter of people looking on, you had the participants as well. I had the opportunity with Minister Jimmy Deanahan to walk through the crowds late at night. Wasn't it very interesting to see mothers with babies in their buggies able to go through a crowd at midnight and feel quite safe in that atmosphere? It says something for the Irish, I think, that when we want to enjoy ourselves, we do it without interfering with anybody else. And I think as well as that, we're living now, I suppose, in a global village in a lot of ways. Each country has its own culture, it has its own literature, its own music. It's very important that Ireland has as well. But the interesting thing is it belongs to the people because it's down in every community at the moment. So when you come to the Fleadh, you're not just reflecting, if you like, on a national or international stage, you're also celebrating what the local communities did. Cavan put their stamp on it, there's no doubt about this. The Fleadh Cheoil that leaves Cavan is not the Fleadh Cheoil that came into Cavan. And when it goes on to Derry, we're going to be dealing with a historic bridging because we'll be crossing the border for the first time in 60 years. And I know they have arranged a very special handing over, and they've invited Peter Robinson and Martin McGuinness to be part of that. That is not just culture, it's not just a social expression, that's history.
Well said. Well, thanks very much, gentlemen, and enjoy the music upstairs. Joined by Amory Power, who is the music and entertainment editor with RTE Radio 1. Amory, you're very welcome and thanks for coming down to the launch of Fleadh 2012. Can you tell us a little bit about RTE Radio 1's involvement in the Fleadh this year?
Well, we're very excited and very proud to be in partnership with the Fleadh this year. We were there last year, and this year we're coming back with 5 programmes. We're coming back with the John Murray Show, which is the 9 o'clock show on RTE Radio 1 in the morning. So John and the team will be here. We're going to do a live concert with lots of the music, favourite music, the talk, the atmosphere. In the evening time we're going to have John Creedon, his music show with some live performances and then his usual playlist of choice. And then we're going to have Cayley House and Rolling Wave with the traditional music programmes, who will also be broadcasting from here. And Cayley House, as we know, hÉireann from the
Cayley House proves very popular here.
Yes, yeah, and there's been a strong link from the from Cayley House from the very start with RTE Radio 1 from the start in the Fleadh, and we're just building on that, I suppose, and moving it into entertainment and music because we see it as a wonderful festival. I mean, certainly last year the amount of people and children, young people, the atmosphere, it just made us want to come back here again this year. So, you know, we're very proud to be doing that. Excited.
It's very good to have you on board because I suppose from the Fleadh's perspective, when it's held in Cavan locally, you know, RTE Radio 1 has given it access, the whole country access to the Fleadh.
Well, that's it, yeah, and that's the whole thing, and it's a challenge for us, but it's also great that you have a programme that's a live event because we'll have an audience and we'll be reflecting what's going on in the Fleadh, but also, as you say, for example, John Murray, it'll be 330,000 odd people tuning in, so they'll all be getting a flavour of the Fleadh, and, you know, and finding out what's going on in Cavan, and you know, so I just think we'll probably the night before as well do a tour around and a walk of Cavan, so it'll be real
Soak up a
sense
bit
of
of
the
the
area.
atmosphere.
Yeah. And the town itself and the history of the town and yeah.
And you hope to maybe have a bit of that then for the programme on Friday?
Yes.
Have a little bit of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
recorded.
yeah, as well as the live music. Yeah, so that's what we hope. And of course, Pascal Mooney then with the Irish Abroad will be concentrating on the diaspora and the story of emigration. And I believe there's a really excellent exhibition in Ballyjames in the County Museum.
County Museum, that's
So
right.
we focus on that, the launch of the gathering, the families, and yeah. So there's loads going on. So looking forward to it. And yeah.
Well, Anne-Marie, thanks a million. It's great to have you here for the launch of Fleadh 2012. We look forward to having you back in Cavan in August. Okay, thanks a million.
Thank you very much.
We're now joined by Sean McKiernan, who's hÉireann of Cavan County Council. Sean, very welcome to the launch here tonight.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me, and hello to all the Cavan TV viewers.
In Cavan and overseas.
Indeed, yep.
Sean, what has it meant for Cavan, as hÉireann of the County Council, what has it meant? I know certainly in Cavan the County Council has been very much involved in the Fleadh. What has it meant for you?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a mind-blowing question, if you don't mind me saying so. I mean, I addressed the Congress of Comhaltas a number of months ago, and Jack Keys, the Fleadh chairman, and Martin Gaffney, the Fleadh PRO, would have been giving a briefing, and I was very privileged. They asked me to join in giving that briefing, and I really confined my remarks to thanking Comhaltas as a national and international custodian and promoter of Irish music and culture for the wonderful opportunity they give to this county. As this county has had its blows in terms of industry, in terms of faith in institutions, in terms of faith in the church. We've been well shook up over the last couple of years. We've borne our share of the chaos in Irish society and maybe a little bit more. And I think what the Fleadh Cheoil has done, against that background and in spite of it, has given this county a great sense of self-belief and self-confidence and self-esteem that it never knew it had. And the alliance between the County Council, the Town Council, Comhaltas, the broader community sector and the local business sector, and indeed the international business sector with the presence now of Liberty Mutual, that has infused all of those components too with a confidence that, together, standing together, they're much stronger than trying to do things in isolation. As is for me as chairman, it has been an incredibly enjoyable year. I would consider Winston Churchill, now talk about being modest, Winston Churchill was asked would he have fought World War II again, and he said he would have, but in particular he talked about 1940, that period when the Battle of Britain was taking place and Britain stood alone against Nazism. People might ask me what part of my year could I repeat. I would repeat the 10 days last August. That was a really magical time in our county. It was a really enjoyable time. It was a really almost spiritual time in a way.
There's a great atmosphere around town.
And you meet people from all over Ireland, you meet people internationally. They're all so proud of us. And too often, and I suppose I'm a politician at the end of my days, I'm 8 years away from leaving the chair, but if I can be frank, one of the things that annoys me is when you go around the county, go around this town or my hometown of Imperial Bar, and you meet people who are so negative, who are so critical, who talk down the county. And legitimate criticism is fine, but when you had so many visitors from all over the island of Ireland, from the United Kingdom, from the continent of Europe, from America, coming here so excited and energised about what Cavan had to offer, I think we undersell ourselves massively. We must be more positive. And I think that when the Fleadh Cheoil leaves us, as it will sadly, I think that all of the people who've been involved in making it so special need to kind of knock heads and think about some equally impressive event in a similar time frame in summer and in the context of the gathering 2013. And I have every confidence. I don't leave office in any way upset or sad. I leave office extremely proud of Cavan and with massive faith in the ability and in the capability of its people.
Absolutely, because I think the Fleadh has taught people in Cavan that they can really do something and do something very, very good and produce it.
And the other thing is that it's important. Life is not meant to be overly serious. Obviously, all of us in life are challenged by serious things, but life shouldn't be serious. There should be a time to chill out and to relax. And 300,000 people visiting a small medieval town, essentially, of 10 or 15,000 people. That's something else. That's a feat of logistics. It's a feat of volunteering. And yet thousands of people volunteered and they didn't see it as an imposition because they did their couple of hours and then they had the crack that evening or the next day or whatever. And again, to put it in perspective, it is the world's largest celebration of our culture and heritage. And if my good friend Laura Samaraku was here, he'd tell us that our heritage is unique, that unlike many other countries in Europe, we never conquered a nation, that our only export was our priests and our scholars, and we kept the light of civilization alive in Europe in the Dark Ages and in the Middle Ages when it was under threat, and it was our people who did that. And so we have a very good international reputation, and the international focus of the Irish people, of our nation at home and abroad, is on Cavan for that 10-day period. And I think the fact we got a 3 in a row means we're doing something right.
Absolutely. And I think the long term, and as you were saying with the gathering, we can do something next year, but it should benefit Cavan in terms of business and tourism.
Well, it has benefited. If you were to talk to any, if you were to talk to any public sector player or any private sector player, and say, how can we come up with something that will, in a 3-year period, deliver between 120 and 150 million at conservative estimates to the local economy. No force in the public sector, no initiative in the public sector or in the private sector would have achieved that. And as I say, it's the partnership of the local authorities, of Comhaltas and of all the other people who put on the Cavan jersey and say, we're going to do this for our county. And as I say, I leave office incredibly excited, incredibly honoured to have been in contact with so many of these people. And we just have to have that self-confidence in ourselves and keep the head up.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, thanks a million.
Thank you, Laura.
And best of luck for you've just a month left as
if only I have 8 days from tonight, 8 days, and I want to pay tribute again. Brian Daly will blush. I want to pay tribute to CavanTV.com. I think they've really revolutionised the concept of media in this county.
You launched it.
Oh, well, stop. No, but some people call it Sean TV, but that'll stop in 8 days. But no, it really is. It has revolutionised local media in this county, in this community of Cavan Town. I think that's really spectacular. But the other thing, it's reaching out to all of our Irish people abroad. And when I go home tonight and I talk to friends in America or Australia and they ask me what I did today, I just tell them to go to CavanTV.com and they can look. I don't have to describe, they can look. And so many people tune in from around the globe. Absolutely, and I think more Cavan people, more people who are here in this county need to know that. So that's why I repeat it. So apologies for...
We have 40,000 now viewers.
It's absolutely brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant because we're not a nation confined to this island. We are a global nation of 40 plus million people when you factor in Irish Americans and everything. So, so hello out there.
And we'll come home for the gathering.
Exactly.
In 2013.
Exactly. Thank you, Laura.
Listen, thank you, Sean. Joined by Martin Gaffney, and Martin is the PRO officer for the Fleadh 2012. Martin, you've played as well here. You were playing earlier on at the launch in style.
That's right, Laura. Yeah, I'm the PRO for Fleadh Cheoil and hÉireann, and I was indeed invited to perform as well. I think
Man of many talents.
Oh no, I think a lot of people are involved in Comhaltas because they are playing music, singing, dancing, or indeed just purely interested in traditional Irish music. And my own interest goes right back to my father, Matty Gaffney of Killashandra. And Matty, together with a great local committee, Seamus Dolan, Tommy McDermott, back in the 1950s would have been one of the main organisers of Fleadh Cheoil hÉireann, and he loved promoting traditional Irish music and our culture. So that's where I inherited it from.
And Martin, you're responsible, may I say, for the lovely branding of the Fleadh this year, the fabulous imagery, the let's play, let's dance, let's sing.
Yes, this year we're promoting the energy and the youthfulness of traditional music. Very often Irish music can be associated with much older players, and you see photographs of the Seamus Ennises and the Marcin Burns and all these great characters. But today in Ireland and in America and Britain and indeed further afield, there are a lot of young people playing. And we set out this year with a goal to really communicate understanding of that fact. And it's building on the previous 2 years of the lovely blue image that we have, the Cavan on Cavan, and the partnership with Cultus hÉireann. So whenever you see the branding, whether it's in posters, you'll always see the Cultus logo in what we call a co-branding relationship. And we've been very strict on ourselves to maintain a very consistent look and feel across everything, whether it's in communications or in the environments around Cavan. So banners, building wraps, displays and so on, you know.
Well, I have to say the town is really starting to look lovely for the Fleadh. The posters are starting to go up, and it's great. I suppose with the launch tonight, the buzz is starting to come into the town again, isn't it, for this year's
It
Fleadh?
is, yes. I think a launch date such as the day today, National Music Day, Love Light Music Day, it focuses a lot of us to concentrate on what we have to get ready for the Fleadh and not leave it till the last minute. So, for example, we would have tied down a lot of our arrangements with our sponsors, and just as you have Cavan 2012, Cultus hÉireann, so too you have all our partners, our sponsors, our supporters, and there are so many of them. And we have to sit down with them and look at what sort of visibility they want for their further support, and it's great to be able to do that. So it's
great to have so many sponsors on board as well that are interested, you know, and see how important the Fleadh is. And
it really is. I mean, from those who commit at a very high level, such as Liberty Insurance, right through to those who are at a national level, such as Fáilte Ireland and the Arts Council and Forest na Gaeilge, who all have different parts to play in Fleadh Cheoil hÉireann. And then all the local hospitality, the Farnham Arms and the Cavan Crystal Hotel, and other organisations such as Quinn Manufacturing Group and Airgrid and Oxygen. Like, all of these organisations have an important part to play in supporting Fleadh Cheoil hÉireann. And we have a lot of supporters as well. Smaller involvement, but nonetheless vital to the Fleadh's success.
And of course, we have national coverage of it as well this year.
We have indeed. We're very proud this year to be involved with our national Radio 1. We have a lot of exciting programmes planned for Fleadh Cheoil hÉireann, and together with our other partners here locally, Anglo-Celt and your own Cavan TV, which we're very delighted to be involved with, and Northern Sound, and also our colleagues over in Northern Standard, who are doing some lovely writing and great contributions to the Fleadh. We're delighted to have that involvement and that input from the media.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Martin, thanks a million, and we'll have you on the show again anyway in a few weeks' time. I am now joined by Marion Smith, the Fleadh coordinator, and we're here at the launch of the Fleadh on Love Live Music Day. And Marion, you're really the woman behind this launch, and and you must be delighted. It's been very, very successful.
Well, absolutely thrilled. It was a fantastic evening. You could, from I came in here this evening at 7:15. Now, I was in earlier this morning at 10:30. We decorated the place. We made it look attractive and inviting.
Looks
as
great.
You do when you come to Cavan. Everything is attractive and inviting. Kevin Smith, my partner in crime, and myself and Katrina and a host of other volunteers were here decorating the place. Yes, it was great. Then I came in here this evening and there was actually quite a few people here early, which is unusual for Cavan, Laura. And you could actually get the feel of fun, frolic, atmosphere, Fleadh. Yes, great, 2012, you know. It's absolutely wonderful. And the one thing that I really enjoyed was there was such not only kind of Fleadh people, or not only cultus people, not only true pure musicians, but we had a representation of every group in Cavan. The arts, the culture, the heritage, it was all represented here this evening. And we had a lovely evening, and you know, at this point, Laura, I have to say, thanks Donald Keogan. You really put on a great show, and I am so proud and happy to be a Cavan person in the Imperial tonight, having launched the Fleadh for 2012, and we did it in style.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think this is just the start of it. You can really feel the atmosphere now building up in Cavan. The signage is going up.
Look, we're here upstairs in the top floor of the Imperial, and it's wonderful. I mean, the music is great. The number of people who are here, you know, chatting, enjoying it, having a drink. It's just fantastic.
But it's only a taste of what's to come.
It's only a taste of what to come. And I have to say, Eleanor Shanley, you are great. And I've been a bit biased here because Eleanor and I go back a long time to the Rammer Theatre in Virginia when she came and performed tonight for me. And as well as that to Anne-Marie Parr and Elizabeth Larraghy. Thank you guys for coming down tonight. We really appreciate it. And
it's great to have the national coverage. With
the national coverage is wonderful, and you know, unfortunately, the chair of the FEC isn't here tonight, nor is Ted Sweeney, because the Love Life music is happening right around the county, and Ted is taken up in Killashandran. Hi Ted, thanks for all your help always, and to County Manager Jack Keys. I mean, his input and his backing and his support is phenomenal, and I'm sure he would love to be here tonight. However, we will show him the videos and the clips on cavantv.ie.
And he is promoting the Fleadh around Poland.
Of course he is promoting it out there with his branding on the back of his camper van. Hello, where would you get it?
He never stops working.
He never stops working, and Laura, you don't and I don't, and it's all great. And you know, Laura, it's wonderful because I've made great friends. We have a great PR team, and thanks to you and Catherine, Sinead, to Una McEntee, to Angela Riley, to all the people who come on board. And you know what's good as well tonight? We had our local public representatives who offered their services, and that's great. So every part and every aspect of the local authority, Cavan County Council, is buying into this wonderful event.
Yeah, well, you need that to make it such a brilliant event.
Absolutely, as well as the Chamber of Commerce and people in general. It's
and all the volunteers that you get.
I mean, the volunteers are wonderful, and you can't mention every single one. But I'm just saying here, Laura, the volunteers are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And from Kevin, I suppose, and myself, I have to say, we are so grateful for all the people who are here today to make this happen, to dress and decorate here on the top floor, where we had the launch downstairs. As I say, to Donald Keogan and his staff, and to everybody associated with today, thank you very much. It was a great day, a great night, and let it continue.
Absolutely. Thanks a million, Marion.
Thank you, Laura.
Roll on the 10th of August.
Absolutely.
I am now joined by Rita Martin, and Rita is Secretary of the Fleadh Executive Committee. Rita, you must be delighted tonight at the launch of the Fleadh. It's very, very successful.
It's been a great night. I think it's been a night for showing off all the talent that's around, and it's been a good chance for people, sponsors, people who are just in the community, come in and see what's going to be happening in Cavan during August, and it's set the tone, I think, for a very good Fleadh.
Yeah, the buzz is starting to grow now around the town, isn't it? And
definitely, you can feel the feel-good factor is back again.
And setting the scene for August.
Yes, and we're looking forward to third Fleadh, and I think because it's the last Fleadh, everybody's given the best effort. They want it to be remembered as the best Fleadh ever, and I think,
which is great that you haven't lost that momentum. You're just building it year on.
It's surprising actually that everybody's willing to do their bit. Absolutely, and the enthusiasm is still there. Yeah,
it's great because it is. Cavan won't have it next year,
and I think we've left a great legacy for Cultus, especially with marketing and the web and IT. I think there's it's really improved the marketing of the Fleadh, and I think when in the history of the Cultus and look back, they'll be able to pinpoint where it actually improved a lot in Cavan.
I'm now with Martin Donoghue. Martin, how was the launch for you tonight? You were up there playing.
Well, I suppose I was happy, first of all, that we had so many people here that travel from afar, apart from the musicians and artists, but visitors that have dropped in there, people there from Australia just saying this is great, we're going to experience a great time, and I'm glad we know what's on now, and I'm looking forward to it, and it's the countdown has begun. That's
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot more to come, isn't there?
Well, I suppose now in the planning stage, you know yourself from the media side of it, the word will go out now, probably through the networks, the Irish Music Magazine and through the Cultus Magazine thrower, the Pipers Club are doing a lot of promotion. So people will be saying now, oh no, what is going to happen? Because Fleadh Cheoils have changed since they come to Cavan. Originally we started with the competition element and a few ceilidhs, and that was very successful and worked so well for years and years. But demands now on families that have teenagers and younger children, they want to be entertained with the workshops, maybe the Scolegsha, then they want to be able to come along that afternoon and go to a recital. And then of course mummies and daddies like to see some of the artists that perform around the world. So what we done is we brought them to Cavan. Clanad are coming to Cavan. It's amazing. Alton, Eleanor, Shanley, these are great and great value for money. So I think we'll be very, very happy with the programme, and the people that attended will memorable nights, memorable.
And of course now people can buy the tickets online as well this
It's
year.
a huge bonus. The website's here. We're booking online at fleadhcheoil.ie. You know, that's great, because over the years we sort of hemmed and hawed and were we going to be right for it. But this year the programme demands that, because the people from Japan want to see in Clanad. It's hilariously, you know, to think that they have a fan base over there, and they're coming, I know 11 or 12 that are coming just to be there to see Clanad. And then along with that, the website's giving you all the information. It's very well done. It's easy to read, very visual, and again you can share it on Facebook, which is a lovely little touch as well. So
and follow on Twitter.
Follow on
Catherine
Twitter.
Fox, she's even busy updating, tweeting away
It's great.
tonight.
There's a lovely team involved this year. People that are learning probably what the Fleadh's about. Do use these mediums, and we have to grow with them. And Cultus sometimes as an organisation, I'm the branch chairman, don't understand them, but I have Derry Scanlon, I have Maeve Sheridan, I have Antoinette Cahill, and these are all very friendly with the whole social media. And now they have the website cavantowncultus.ie. We have tunes up that you can download. We also have sound files up, and it's all free. That's Cavantown Cultus, and we have viewers from all over, from Mexico, Switzerland, because the girls, I says at the time, mark it out so we'd see who's visiting it and make sure our own people were looking at it. We've 285 members in Cavantown, and the medium of internet and online booking, it's the future.
It is, absolutely.
And Cultus.ie as well have their own site as well, and they are linked to us as well, and they have some lovely free stuff like Cultus Live, and they have stuff like archive recordings and that. But people that are coming to the Fleadh, the leaflets are lying on the table there. People will bring them with them, people will lose them, they'll lie in the back of the car. The website on the iPhone, they'll click on their Mac, they'll click on their PC at home, and they'll find out what's happening, and they are coming.
They'll find out through Cavan TV as well.
Well, it's great. I mentioned Brian being here tonight and the lads. It's not easy for people know when you're a stranger to come and catch this stuff, but when you do try and find a website, and then you can actually view on shows, like I do watch the shows Paul Cox is doing, your own stuff, the sport, that's positive. That's
great. Listen, congrats on it was a great launch.
Very happy.
Done. Thanks to Martin and to all the people who took part in interviews with us on the night. A very enjoyable night was had by all, and we look forward to the Fleadh in Cavan from the 10th to the 20th of August. Sin Dura an Clór Community Focus or CavanTV.com. By Mayor Rasha Rish, Jacadin Shahugin or Hug the Clug. That's all from this evening's Community Focus show on CavanTV.com. I will be back again next Wednesday evening at the same time to bring you more community related news on CavanTV.com. Thanks for watching the show and have a great week. Slán!